Hi, I'm Jody Filigomo, and I'm here to help you be the boss of your clothes. In my other lifetime, I was a cosmetic dentist. And so when I retired, when I sold my practice, I decided to start styling and helping people shop. And I come to styling in a whole different direction than most stylists. I come with a scientific and what is the reason behind it thinking. And what that enables me to do is think about and tell you guys and explain how many of the rules, in fact, almost all of the rules that we've been taught in our years of fashion and styling are hogwash. There is no reason you need to look taller. There's no reason you need to look slimmer. You are fabulous as you are, and you can wear anything because not everything is created equal. You get it to fit, you get the right color, you get the right pairing with something else, and you can look great. So, I want to show you three of my tools that really help be the boss of your clothes. And those are going to include color pairings, they're going to include um, learning how to use different tools. I call them tools of the trade to make things either fit better or look better, depending what you're pairing it with. And then also your clothing. It should not be categorized. Just because you buy a skirt does not mean you can only wear it as a skirt. And so I love to inspire women to actually have fun and not be stressed out with our clothing and our style. I always say it is a tool, just like all these other tools you've been hearing about with our diet, nutrition, exercise, well being. Our clothing and style can really lend to that. It can make you feel invincible, it can make you feel bold, it can make you feel confident. And that's what every one of us needs. So I hope you enjoy the ways that you're going to love being the boss of your clothes. So, one of the first points I want to make about being the boss of your clothes is not being afraid of color or color combinations. And the best way to do that is to learn a little more about color. That doesn't mean you have to be an artist, and that doesn't mean you have to have a master's in it. There are some elementary things that are going to help you feel bossier about colors by knowing some things. One is it is helpful to know which colors are best on you, which look best. And even if you do know those, I don't think we should get too obsessed about it. Yes, it's nice to know which colors are good and wear those most of the time, but you can be obsessive. And that's when it gets stressful because you worry, is this one of my colors? And you should just have an idea of what looks good. For me, I try to focus on warm colors as opposed to cool colors. I don't always get it right. I don't always choose warm colors because I don't like to be limited. But if you know and have the majority of good colors in your closet, you've just hit step 2, 3, and 4 without even trying. The other reason that helps is because it makes it easier to combine the different things in your closet because warm colors tend to go with warm colors much easier. Not that you can't put a warm with a cool, but it just tends to be easier and you have less to stress about. So I advise you to use one of the color analysis projects, people that are out there. I've worked with a couple. I like different ones for different reasons. And it's never bad to get a couple different opinions about you, what looks good on you, what colors you should work towards wearing more often. So that would be the first suggestion. But then to learn a little more about colors, and I'm talking basic education here. The first thing I like to know is some definitions. And I only say that because it's like a recipe. In fact, I have a color recipe that helps women put together or answer that question of, okay, I have this colorful whatever. What color do I wear with it, right? You need a recipe. It's like when you first have uh, pork roast, how do I cook it? And then what do I put with it, right? It's no different than that. So having this color recipe entails a couple of definitions. And one, the first that I think is important to know is neutrals. So when you're talking about neutrals, you're talking about colors that are more earth toned, and they're going to go with absolutely everything to a degree, right? So let me just list off quickly the five neutrals that I work with. And so one would be your whites. Now I say whites and I pull up ivory. And this is where people get too obsessed with semantics. White, ivory, any of those shades are going to be a neutral. So I like a white to pop other colors. That's one of my favorite reasons to wear white. Then the second would be browns. Okay, so that's going to range all the way from tans to dark brown. You have a bunch of different shades. Shades, that's another term you should get to know and use. There's all kinds of different ones like values and hues, and you don't have to know all of them, but shades is good to know so that if you see a yellow, it can be very different from a light lemon yellow like this to a gold, dark, saturated yellow. It doesn't matter. Just call it yellow. The name does not make a difference. Okay, so I have white, brown, gray, and grays can be from very light gray, which can almost look silver or white, to a very dark charcoal gray. And this is kind of a in between. Then there's black. Isn't that some women's favorite color, black? But even black has more of an off black, a really dark saturated. And then I like to call something else a neutral. And it may just be me. It may not be what all stylists say, but denim. I consider denim absolutely a neutral because most of us are very comfortable pairing absolutely anything with it. And then remember that word shades? So there are lots of shades or washes of denim. You have the very light ones to the very dark ones. And some of the dark ones even look black because as we know, navy is also what most people would consider a neutral. So navy, denim, same thing, right? You can use all of those neutrals as part of my color recipe when you pair things together. Then, of course, you have all the colors. And when we say all the colors, I automatically think what we learned back in elementary school, the color wheel, but Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Now, I don't worry about the indigo, but I think of it as red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And so it is good to know those and think of those, have those memorized, because when I'm wondering in my head, what will look good with that? That's what I run through. That's also how I try to organize my closet because it makes it very easy. We as humans tend to focus on color. We remember color. So when you buy a shirt, most likely you remember it first as a red shirt. And then in your head, you'll remember, oh, it's short sleeved, it has a V-neck, all those other things. But you think of it first as that red shirt. So it is best to organize your closet in colors so that when you go looking for that red shirt, all you have to do is look in the reds section and boom, there it is. So let me keep going with my color recipe. I think any two colors will go together. Sometimes that means you need to put in a third color, a neutral, to make it flow better. But a lot of times it's really your mood and how things feel. And like I said, if you're always pairing warm with warm or cools with cools, that tends to work nicely. It feels better to people. Of course, it's always good to switch it up also. But let me, for an example, show you this pair of pants. So this pair of pants obviously is white with yellow and blue stripes. Now, you all know how to match, right? We would all very easily pair white, blue, or yellow with this pair of pants. Well, at some point in our life, we should, evolve past just matching. We should be able to pair this pair of pants with many other colors. And by doing that, you create a bigger, more cohesive closet than being stressed about, do I have yellow to go with this? Do I have blue to go with this? So let's start with the first trick, the easiest trick. The easiest trick would be to grab a different shade than of the color in here. For example, this blouse. So the yellow in these pants is a brighter yellow, more of a lemon yellow, whereas this is a very pale yellow. So just grab something that's the same color but a different shade, and that will go with your item very easily. I think that's very elementary to start with, and can be like dipping your toe into the water. But I want to expand your color pairings and try lots of other colors with this. Okay, so I went through my closet. I ignored the whites since we have whites in here, and I came to the pinks. Now this pink is a very interesting pink. I consider it warm, but it's a very it's muted, what I would consider more of a muted pink. And that's one of the terms that I use in a lot of my color recipes, a muted versus a bright color. And the best way is to try them all. So this muted pink with this, with these pants. Now, you may not like it, okay? It may not be something that goes wow to you, but I want you to be more open to the different colors, because that's where you're gonna then be the boss of your clothes. So here's a pink. Then I kept going down my row of colorful clothing items, and I came to orange. I love orange. This is a very bright orange. In fact, it may show up different on your monitor than in my closet. But this orange with the yellow and blue, I think is very beautiful. This puts the emphasis on the top, and then the pants aren't quite the focal point. Then you can also do red. Red, especially if you like pink, then red is, well, pink is actually a shade of red. So then you have another top to go with these pants very easily. I also had green. I think green and blue always look great together because they're on the color wheel. They're the cool colors on the color wheel. And then purple. Now this is a very, what I would call like a red purple. But again, don't worry about what it's called. Worry about how it looks with the other item. And by doing this, by going through the Roy G. Biv and trying different colors with your clothes, you're not going to be stuck with that, what color do I wear with it? You're going to go through your whole closet and have a lot of options. And then the best option of what to put with this would be another print. I always think print mixing is the advanced degree of color pairings, and that will also make your closet a lot bigger. So with this pair of pants, the easiest way to print mix with it would be to grab a top with the same colors, with about the same colors. So what do you think about this top with it? Here, let me put them next to each other. See? So I know a lot of people will say this is too much print. And I think it's something to get used to. Once your eye sees it more and more, it becomes more normal and you like it. Interior designers use print mixing all the time, but be open to it because it's going to enable you to be the boss and to have many more options of what to pair together in your closet. I wanted to talk about another option for being the boss of your clothes, and I call these tools of the trade. In fact, on my website, J Touches Style, I have an entire page dedicated to these tools that I use to make us look and feel better. I wanted to showcase 3 of my favorite today. And when I show these and talk about these, it's not to say that you shouldn't have your clothes altered to fit you. It's not to say you shouldn't buy your clothes so they fit well. But the reality is, buying and finding clothing that fits your body exactly is challenging because your body is very unique, and the clothes that we buy and are for sale are made for a couple different sizes. And yes, I do believe in altering. I do it for myself and friends, but there are also other ways that you can make things fit better. So let me start with one of my new favorite tools that I've recently added to my site. And it's back from the 80s. I know we had these a long time ago, and now I'm using them all over again. And it's the scarf clip. These aren't just used for scarves, although they're great for scarves, but I love them for shirts and kimonos, especially when I want to shorten them and make them more cropped. And we're seeing this now with the wider leg pants, with the looser silhouette on the bottom. You want a top, it doesn't have to be tight, but you want it uh, shorter, a little tighter to your body, a little more slim to your body, not as overpowering. So I have this long, big shirt, and it's what I would consider too big for me, but I love the color, and I knew there were possibilities, so I snagged it. And using this scarf clip, I can create a knot here in the front and make it shorter. Now, I could just make a knot. We've done that. I've seen it done a lot. It's easy. The only bad thing is it creates a real big bump. And that's usually the last thing we want. So instead, I'm using my scarf clip. I just thread the ties, the ends, through each side. And this will do the same thing as making a knot. It creates a flatter knot. And now I have a cropped shirt, just like that. I use these scarf clips not just on shirts. I've used them on kimonos, anything lightweight enough that will go through the prongs. The nice thing about these, they are very inexpensive. I find them on Amazon. They come in a variety of metal finishes, like this one is gold, and then it comes in a pack of 6 with silver and all kinds of other metals. Now, there is a thrifting tip you can use for these. If you find a belt at the thrift store for a great deal that has a buckle like this, and then, the rest of the belt, buy it, cut off the belt, the leather or usually fabric part, and then you have your own scarf clip. So like I said, this has been one of my new favorite tools that I've been using on many, many, many of my items. In fact, I used it on a scarf, but I wore the scarf as a belt. And you can see how it looks flatter, it looks great. It's an easy tool, an essential I consider to have in your toolbox. Now, one of my other favorites are orthodontic clear bands. And so this is what it looks like. It's a clear elastic. If you had braces or your kids had braces, you might recognize these little bags, and they had a lot of these elastics in them. I also get these on Amazon, and they come as a bunch. So when you buy a bag, give some to your friends and share with them this great way to change up your looks. So these clear elastics are great for thinner materials. I also use hair elastics for the same things when the material is thicker, but these clear elastics are wonderful for the thinner ones, so you don't have to turn it over and over and over and over, but it will do the same thing. It will create a knot in these pieces. It will hold things together. But I like to use it even in another way. I like to use it on the inside of a shirt or even a dress to create ruching, to create basically a knot, but you only see the inside portion of the knot. Let me show you. So if I grab the material of this blouse from the inside, I make a knot. And this is on the inside, remember? And of course, you can double it if you need to. And then on the outside, it pulls it in. It almost looks like a black hole, right? But it's ruched it. It's pulled it in and created a knot, but it's not sticking out. I love this trick with my elastics. It works fabulous. Now, I use this also to hold together scarves or any of my kimonos and such. And the nice thing, because it's clear, you don't see it. Another great tip for this is if you wear belts, especially a skinny belt, and you wear it over a dress, and then the end of it hangs off, you put this on your belt. I have a lot of these on my belts already, and then you can put the end through it and it holds it. It's basically a belt loop, but since it's clear, you don't see it. Now, another of the tricks when you're using these clear elastics, if you put it around, say, the material like this, now you don't have to just keep it like this. You can wrap a small scarf, you can put a pin to add decoration. That's the nice thing about these being clear. They basically disappear and you don't really see them. Now, my last tool I want to talk about here is a magnet. And when I talk about a magnet, these are the two pieces of these. These are called Maggie's magnets. I do get these on Amazon. They come in a set and they also have a covering over it. But these are another great way to hold fabric together without putting a hole in it, and it's very flat. So for example, I live in Arizona, so kimonos are a way of life in the summer. And it may not look fabulous over this shirt, but we'll just pretend. But if you had a kimono, you had anything. I've used these on sweaters, all kinds of materials. These magnets are pretty strong. And so if your scarf clip doesn't work, that kind of thing, these work great. You just put the round magnet towards your body, and then you have the other part out here, holds it together. You can use it in all kinds of ways to hold fabric together. Now, I've used these all different kinds of ways, even for decoration. Sometimes you want something to look like a belt on the waistband of a skirt like that. I've used 2 of them on the sides of a dress. There's all different kinds of ways you can use these magnets. Once you have them in your toolkit and you're trying to put something together, these 3 tools won't steer you wrong. You'll have these, you can figure out which one will work better, and everything will fit and look great. So for this idea of being the boss of your clothes, I'm gonna ask you to be open, be more open, to have a different mindset. So I can't tell you how you were raised or what your past is like, but let me tell you just a bit about mine. As a retired cosmetic dentist, I was brought up in a very manly environment. Mostly dentists were men, and therefore I was expected to be what I considered more professional, to look a little more manly. So in my head, I would never, ever wear pink. That was too girly. I would never wear polka dots or even florals because that was too feminine. And I was trying to be more masculine so I could be taken seriously and be respectable in my profession, right? And maybe you've experienced some of that same. So that went along with how I saw fashion and style. It had to be a certain way in order for me to be perceived as I wanted to be perceived. Well, biologically and scientifically, I realized you are the same person inside, no matter what your outside looks like, the body or what's clothing the body. And what I have learned is that our clothing really should tell what we are like personality-wise. And most of us have a very wide variety of moods, emotions, and so it's nice if we have variety in our clothes that way. And what this is leading me to say is that we tend to categorize certain clothing and only wear it a certain way. And that needs to change. And what I have learned is a couple of things. One, about layering. We are very adept at layering a jacket, a cardigan over another piece. But I want you to open up the possibility that your cardigan could be a shirt under something else, or that your blazer or jacket could be a layering piece under a vest or even another jacket. So I use the 2 words when layering, over and under, because almost everything and anything can be layered over something and under something. On top of that, your clothing, while it was categorized when you got it, meaning you bought it as a skirt, you bought it as a shirt, can sometimes be many other things. I categorize my items when I organize them in my closet, but then when I pull them out, I try to remember and use my brain to think that this piece of clothing could be many things. For example, take a skirt. What is a skirt? It's a piece of fabric with a top opening and a bottom opening, right? It's basically a circle of fabric. That's all it is. Of course, some skirts have zippers, elastic, all different kinds of things. But in thinking that this skirt has an opening here, why not wear it as a top, like I've done? Or you can scrunch it up and make it a scarf, or have it be a scarf around your hat. If you had a long skirt like this, you could make it into a dress, like Leslie did. There are so many more possibilities with this skirt than just thinking of it as a skirt, right? It's very freeing. It's almost mind-blowing to think that your closet just got doubly huge. So I've also done this with a shirt. Yes, this is a long sleeve, longer button-up blouse, but all button-ups can be worn unbuttoned as a jacket. Or you can make the sleeves tie around your neck and become more of a halter top. There are many ways, as I'm showing, that you could wear this blouse and have it look so much different. There's just so many advantages to playing with the clothes in your closet. It's good for your brain, it's good for your wallet so you don't always buy something new, and it's really good for our mood and confidence that we can change things up and have fun. It is actually fun to play with our clothes and style them in so many ways. So this is just a small hint of what I show on my site, jtouchesstyle.com. I love coming up with these ideas on my blog, on Instagram, on TikTok, because it's fun to work with fashion and style. And you can see I'm using one of my tools of the trade here, my scarf clip, for these ties on this skirt. I hope you join me, and thanks for joining along. And thanks for joining along.